Our mysterious survivor has awoken. Jaspar Matumiel Delveric. Jaspar for short. And you, my friend, are in my very own campsite. And before you ask, yes, the bandits killed both of the apothecary. The only reason you're still alive is that the impact of the explosion threw you right into a thicket. Luckily enough, most of your injuries are only superficial, and I've already taken care of them. Your fever, though, is an entirely different story. Yep, quite a lot, actually. You're suffering from first-degree Arcanist's fever. I'm quite surprised that the old apothecarius didn't see that, to be honest. You're suddenly capable of doing things you previously knew only from the bard songs, right? And you're feeling unusually strong and dizzy at the same time? While drinking herbal potions leaves a, well, kind of a bitter feeling in your head? Yep, your magical talent has broken free inside you. I don't have any myself, but I've worked together with enough arcanists to know the signs. Simply put, what's happening is that your body can't cope with the magic. This isn't much of a problem at first, but if you don't do anything about it within the next couple of months, you'll find yourself running through the heartland naked, throwing fireballs at everything that moves. You'll lose your mind, to speak plain and all. Yes, of course. Though someone who's magically gifted will always react differently to certain situations than someone who isn't. As I said, some herbs will always worsen your fever, as will magically contaminated areas. Among other things, yes. Just as being magically gifted can make a person powerful, it can also make them sensitive and prone to certain conditions. Just don't overdo it sleeping in ruins or in the wilderness. Instead, set up a camp somewhere. Plus, as you've already said yourself, don't overdo it with potions. Well, that depends on how bad it gets. At first, you'll suffer these diffuse headaches from time to time. Then your sight will permanently blur. And then you'll suffer a case of acute death, so to speak. Yep, everything has its price, as the wise hermit likes to say. What? No, that won't help you in the long run. What you need is ambrosia, a special mixture of herbs that can remedy the fever without any side effects. Every good alchemist has that in stock, but it'll cost you. Visions? Are you sure? The Enderalian spider plague's known to cause visions in the infected. And if that's what you got in that old temple, you should start digging your grave. Because your body parts will start falling off in a few hours if you don't do something about it. Nowhere. Because that plague doesn't exist. I have no idea what kind of visions you're talking about, since the only visions I know of are those that come along with a good pipe of peaceweed. But your reaction shows that you were trying to keep something from me, and that's not a good idea if you want my help. You know what? Someone has to take care of your fever. And as it happens, I know someone who could. But in return, I want you to tell me everything. How did you get here? And what did you do in that temple? And what exactly did you see in those visions? I can't put my finger on it, but there's something strange about you. And that makes me curious. So, healing for information. What do you say? Then shoot. I'm eager to listen. I understand. My condolences for your loss. So that means you somehow survived this execution. And before you got washed ashore, you had this dream? In which you saw burnt bodies and a blinding light. I hope so. So your magical outburst didn't happen slowly as it usually does, but all of a sudden after this near-death experience. And with it came these visions. Interesting. I guess you know how absurd all this must sound, but somehow I believe you. Heck knows why, but I do. So, that means I'll introduce you to my employer. If anyone can help you, it's him. There is, however, one thing with which I could use a hand. The sooner we get that done, the sooner we can start our journey to Ark. Ark? The capital of this country? Walls high as towers of iron-hard stone, rest alone in the mountains in granite enthroned, never decaying, the ages surveying, guarded by the Lord, and blah, 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 and so on and so forth. If you plan on staying in this land, sooner or later you'll see it with your own eyes. Splendid. There are some things that need some explanation before we can get started, however. Where should I start? I take it you've noticed that in the past 2.5 years, this world has fallen into political chaos, right? Civil wars, usurpers everywhere, you name it. And even though Enderal isn't directly affected by these wars going on everywhere, there are strange things happening here too. Take the Woods-Ears, for example. There have been an unusual number of reports of wanderers being attacked by them in the open, which has never happened before. And the same goes for the lost ones, the living dead. Until 2 years ago, they were a rather rare magical phenomenon. But now every other corpse not properly cremated starts walking again as if it were the most natural thing to do. The strangest thing, however, is what they call the Red Madness. Yeah, it's some kind of mental illness that makes people lose their minds. Just a couple of weeks ago, for instance, there was a smith in Ark who slaughtered his entire family. He was drunk, but that doesn't explain why he screamed things like, "Fear the light," while he was doing it. Or a young noblewoman who killed herself by setting her family estate on fire for no apparent reason. Now, you might say that these kinds of things happen, but by now there have been more than a dozen of them. That and the fact that the possessed's eyes glow red shortly before and during their deed has made people call it the Red Madness. And just 3 days ago it happened again. Only this time it was a magister from within the Holy Order itself. Right, you're not from here. A magister is a kind of sage from the Holy Order, who teaches the young novices who are aspiring to become keepers or arcanists. Yarrow was his name, a man who had more than 60 winners on his back. He killed 15 novices and himself. According to the only eyewitness to survive, he entered the teaching room as usual to give a lecture on alchemy. But instead, he gave a strange speech in which he explained that humanity is corrupt, void, as he put it. And his eyes started glowing, he locked the door, and, well, he tore himself apart with a magical explosion. You can imagine the kind of uproar that caused. Well, I'm not exactly one for vows and austerity, so no, I'm no keeper. I guess you could say my specialty is recovering things that have been lost. Treasures, tomes, memories, and the like. And the Order hired me to do exactly that. They want to know how a highly intelligent man like Yarrow could fall victim to the Red Madness. And also if there's a discernible pattern to how this malady, or whatever it is, chooses its victims. True, but that's irrelevant. Yarrow grew up in a small village named Riverville, which isn't far from here, and according to some of the other wardens, he visited this area quite often after his partner's death. So it's quite possible we could find some clues around here. Shards of his past, if you like. I've already searched most of the area, but a second pair of eyes wouldn't hurt. What do you think? Well, for starters, I need you to travel to Riverville and talk to an old man named Alfred. He was a childhood friend of Yarrow's, and he might be able to tell us something worthwhile. Secondly, a boy from the village told me that he saw Yarrow throw something into the water near a cliff to the east. Go there and see if you can find whatever it was he wanted to get rid of. I myself will have a look at the house Yarrow grew up in. Here, this is a map of the region. The blue dot over here is Yarrow's old house. And at the risk of sounding heartless, you should head back to the apothecary's camp. Maybe the bandits left behind some equipment. If there's nothing else, I'd say off we go. Let's shed some light on this Yarrow and his motivations. Meet me at his old house when you're ready. I'll be waiting there.
Who are you?
Yarrow, this is about his death, isn't it? The rampage. Of course, who hasn't? Yarrow was one of us, after all. It is terrible. Simply terrible. You want to hear an old man's opinion, though? I always expected that something like this would happen. Malthus, forgive me for talking about a keeper like that, but it's the truth. Hard to explain, really. Come on, let's find somewhere to sit. It'll be easier to talk that way. Yarrow, that's quite a subject, you know. You were right when you said we were best friends. Our fathers knew each other. For as long as I can remember, Yarrow and I were getting into trouble together. At least, until his mother died. No. Bandits killed her in broad daylight on Penny Road. Today these incidents are common, but not back then. The road was considered safe, very safe. She was on her way to Ark, accompanied by 3 other women, and they were set upon at the pass. None of them survived. Yarrow was shattered. I think the worst part was how his father went downhill after his wife's death. The fishery decayed, and the poor guy filled his days with boozing and sleeping. It changed Yarrow forever. Well, that's a good question. On the one hand, he became a man, despite his tender age. On the other hand, something inside him woke up, so to speak. A desire to make more of his life. Old Mother Jenica noticed it and took him under her wing. He learned how to read and write, and soon he knew all the holy verses by heart. When he didn't have to help his drunken father, he helped in the village as much as he could. Indeed, that's one way to look at it. It wasn't long before he was the jewel of the village, the striving young fisherman destined for great things, even though he was only on the path of a manufacturer. And then the inevitable happened. A keeper of the order came to Riverville to see the prodigy with his own eyes. And behold, in addition to Yarrow's ingenuity, he also had a slumbering magical talent. The keeper took him away, and a few months later, he started his novitiate. Since then, I've only seen him once or twice, as he rarely visited Riverville. I don't think he ever noticed how much that hurt me. Oh, it's hard to explain. I believe it was the way he was talking about his grand plans. how he wanted to make the world a better place, to become the greatest keeper since Lorem Waterblade. Underneath all this, there was an anger. An anger mixed with deep grief and disappointment. I don't think he was aware of it, because he drew all his strength from that anger. The strength to do all this, to learn and to work day and night, but it frightened me, like the Blue Death. It slumbers inside the pathless mage who believes he can master magic without the Order's help. At first, it grants power, but then, one day, it bursts out in an unholy wave of destruction, turning him into one of the monsters in the old songs. Anyway, I'm just an old man. What do I know about these matters? Now let me go to sleep. All these memories are making me weary. Yes, of course.
Hey, you there! Yes, you! Do you want to know a secret? Well, I found something really, really awesome, but I need help from somebody as tall and strong as you. How about it? I show you what I mean, and you promise to help me in return. What do you say? Awesome! I knew you'd say yes! Come, follow me! Look, I found this yesterday when I was searching for shells. Awesome, isn't it? Yes, and you know what? If you shake it, you can hear a rattling, as if there are coins in it. All we need to do is break it open, then we can split the loot, and I could give Daddy the money for the pointy beard man. So what do you think? I've already tried to open it, but it just won't budge. Sure. There are... Oh, come on, what is that? There aren't any pennies, only these weird nails and a piece of paper. Here, take a look for yourself. So, does it say anything? A poem? What if it's a riddle? That's what you grown-ups call it, don't you? What does it say exactly? A blessing in distress? That... Oh, sugar, why do you grown-ups always have to talk so complicated? That is... Wait... Father Phildus, the priest, he always talks about blessings at the sermons. Maybe the writer is talking about the shrine, the one behind our house. Quickly, you should go take a look over there. I have to go back to the farm to feed the lures, but tell me at once if you find anything.
Good pipe. Well, if it isn't my new friend. Any luck? Well, that's interesting. Good work. That only leaves the mysterious object in the water. I'll have a closer look around here in the meantime. Interesting. I didn't know about his companion's fate, to be honest. Irony of fate, isn't it? Murdered by those you wanted to help. But the Order will definitely be interested in these letters. Well done. That should be all we need, then. Splendid. I did, and now I finally know what to make of it. Come, follow me. I present a Star People's lock, and I bet my buttocks we'll find another answer behind that door over there. Doesn't surprise me. This kind of lock is usually only found in treasuries or castles, but they can be picked, though that's going to be quite the challenge without the bolts. Normally, yeah. It's quite simple, actually. Every keyhole has a matching bolt that latches into place once you insert it. And once all the keyholes, 5 in our case, are latched, the door the lock protects opens up. If you don't have the matching bolts, however, you should prepare yourself for the most frustrating break-in of your life. That is, if you don't happen to be Jaspar. Who knows a little trick? You can use wooden sticks instead of bolts. They'll break a couple of seconds after you put them inside the lock, but if you manage to get all 5 sticks into place before the first one breaks, you can basically trick the mechanism. It's all about speed, in other words. So I'd say you do the running, and I'll wait near the pressure plate. You ready? Splendid. Here are the sticks. All right, go! Good at this. Now let's take a look and see what the old Magister didn't want anyone to see, shall we? Oh, shit! Not a weak one. This Yarrow knew about magic, that's for sure. That leaves us with the question of what exactly this is supposed to be. I suppose that's his companion. Though it's interesting that he was already on the wrong side of the law way before his rampage. Well, burials are considered heathen here in Enderal, and have been forbidden for about 300 years now. Here, corpses are always cremated. The whole thing's called the Last Journey. The deceased is taken to a place he or she considered special during his or her life immediately after dying. That's the only way the soul can move on to the eternal paths. Sounds very poetic, but I'm pretty sure the only reason the Order introduced the law was to prevent plagues. Plus, they might have noticed that too many lost ones running around on trade routes aren't that much fun for wanderers and traveling merchants. Yeah, but of course that only goes for the little man. The rich and powerful still tend to their family crypts. And there are still plenty of old vaults around from the time before this whole Last Journey thing was begun. And it's good that way. What would life as a treasure hunter be like without the notorious noble looking for family jewels in a century-old grave? Let's take a look around and see if we find anything. What's that? Let me see. Uh-huh. A tragic ending for a tragic personality, I'd say. Well, I think that should suffice. Yeah, we are. Here, I've got 2 teleport scrolls that can take us right back to Riverville. Just meet me in the tavern once you're ready to go. I have some stuff to take care of, so there's no need to hurry. Farewell.
Potatoes, garlic.
I hope you turns come soon. $10 for a sack of grain. Damn these farmers.
Oh my. Yeah, you just don't get any younger. Blah, blah, blah.
I hope the new turnips come soon.
Why is that stuff so expensive?
Huh? Now, if it isn't my new pal, how about a sip of wine? Here you go. So, are you ready for our little journey? It seems that Riverville's Myrid's injured, so we'll have to go by foot. Oh, right. You wouldn't know that since you're Naramese. Myrids are giant flying creatures. Quite nasty when wild, quite useful when tamed. You can find Myrid towers all over Enderal. And for a small fee, the keepers in their Myrids can take you from point A to B in no time. But, as I said, Riverville's Myrid's injured, so we'll have to walk. Splendid. Let's wait until nightfall, though. That way it's less likely we'll run into an ambush in the pass. One more thing. Up to now, you've seemed more like the close combat type to me. In battle, I mean. Am I right? I see. I'm asking because I was in the market just now stocking up on provisions, and I got myself some new reading material. Here, I think you might find this useful. The Arizalian in My Bed, Sensual Confessions of a Vagabond Lady, Volumes 1 and 2. You know, for the lonely nights. Jokes aside, these are learning books, from arcanists or master fencers, depending on what you read. You know how to fight, but if you want to get better, you have to enjoy reading these once in a while. You're welcome. Then off we go, I'd say. You go on ahead. Just take the route leading north out of Riverville. It'll lead us straight to the mountain pass.
Malfrance's blessing.
Eager to explore, aren't you? Take your time, I'll wait. I can use a break anyway.
Walk west.
Folks just never learn.
Just a scratch.
Hang on a second. Quite the sight, isn't it? It's moments like these that make life so damn worth living. This place was once a trading post, in case you're wondering, but it's been deserted ever since the isolation. Yeah, that's what we call the decree that was made 30 years ago here in Enderal. Simply put, the Order decided to reduce their trade with other countries of the civilized world to a minimum. Not a very economical choice to make, but that was roughly the time when the Lightborn Eradan left Nerim. The Order was probably afraid something similar could happen in Enderal. You know, open harbors quicken the exchange of information, which in turn quickens rebellious thinking, and so on. Since the decree, trading in Enderal has been subject to very strict regulations, and only the wealthy can still afford things like Termatralian wine or Chilean spices. Anyway, since then, a lot of once flourishing trading posts have closed down, such as the Three Rivers Watch down at the Sun Coast, or this one. Yeah, if you want to take a look for yourself, feel free. If not, let's push on. We still have a good march ahead of us. I wish I knew how to do that.
Hey, you there! Yes, you! Sober up? What, are you saying I'm drunk? And you're right, actually. But a man's got to do something to keep his bones warm, doesn't he? It's so...
Traveler. Some folks just never learn. No! Your pipe! That!
Just a scratch.
Way too easy.
That's all you got.
Huh? Eager to explore, aren't you? Take your time. I'll wait. I can use a break anyway. Still alive? Good. Let's go. We shouldn't waste any more time. Majestic, isn't it? Yes?
Penny, my son. Please, just one penny.
Sir? Yes?
Walk west.
And here we are. Welcome to Ark. I've got some things to take care of here. So let's meet at the market once you're ready to meet Grandmaster Tealor Orenthiel and his mages in person, alright? Great. Then see you later and enjoy your stay.